Between Squid Game's compelling characters and life-and-death stakes, it's impossible to look away. But even if you forgot to blink, here's another round of tiny but important clues you may have missed in Season 2. Spoilers ahead. In the frontman's office where he watches the games, there's an automaton band that plays Fly Me to the Moon. The frontman controls a machine with a remote, and the automatons are set up as an American jazz club. Each of them plays an instrument, or in the case of the female automaton, sings. In episode 1 of the first season, the band plays over Red Light, Green Light. It plays again at the end of episode 8, when Sabiak dies and is cremated. In the second season, the automatons make a comeback. They can again be heard over part of Red Light, Green Light, which takes place in the third episode this time. What you may not have noticed is that this time the song is faster, with more layered, modern orchestration. That is until the frontman abandons his office and the song stops. There's no denying that K-pop is one of the world's largest music genres, with die-hard fans spread across the globe. As Squid Game is an incredibly popular South Korean production, it's not surprising that the cast would feature a few noteworthy K-pop entertainers. While Choi Sung-yeon, aka T.O.P., gets plenty of screen time as Thanos, he's not the only K-pop star to take part in the games. He's joined by two others who are famous both in and out of South Korea. Cho Yuri, who appears as Player 222, the character of Kim Joon-hee, hit the world stage in 2017 via a reality TV competition called Idol School. The show featured dozens of K-pop wannabes hoping to join a new girl group. While she didn't win that competition, she competed the following year on a similar show, Produce 48, where she placed third and earned a spot in the group IZ*ONE. This made Yuri a star, and after her 3-year contract with the band ended, she launched a successful solo career. Squid Games is her first major acting role, but it likely won't be her last. Yim Si-won entered the K-pop industry in the band Gia, which debuted in 2010. The group was enormously successful, and Si-won parlayed that fame into an acting career. He began appearing in K-dramas in 2012 and eventually moved into feature films. Si-won is Player 333, Lee Myung-gi, a crypto influencer who's hounded by Thanos and others after his failed cryptocurrency suckers $10.3 million out of his formerly loyal followers. The second contest in Squid Game Season 2 is the six-legged pentathlon, where 5 players' legs are locked together for a race against the clock. They must travel around the track together and play 5 childhood games, each handled by a different player. Any mistakes are likely deadly, and this is especially true for Song Gi-hun's team. He's joined by player 001, Oh Young-gil, aka Hwang In-ho, who slyly sabotages their game, possibly to make it more difficult. The way he does this is rather insidious, as it involves using his non-dominant hand for the game he plays. Young-gil is responsible for the spinning top game, and as he winds the cord around the top, he uses his right hand. At the end of Squid Game Season 1, In-ho as the frontman shoots his brother while holding the pistol with his left hand. People don't typically fire guns using their non-dominant hand, which suggests In-ho purposefully uses his right non-dominant hand to wind the top.
Fail.
Sorry guys, that's on me.
The team quickly breezes through their challenges before it's his turn, but the spinning top sets them back for a frightening chunk of time. And ultimately, when he gets it right, he uses his dominant left hand. It's unclear why he would do such a thing, as having the team lose would likely screw up whatever plan he has in place to mess with Gi-hun. But several eagle-eyed viewers spotted this detail, suggesting that the frontman is playing a game most viewers would never notice. A subplot in Squid Game Season 2 involves player 333, Lee Myung-gi, who's on the run after scamming his followers out of more than $10 million. This type of scam isn't included in the season on a whim. It's actually a huge problem that's cost many South Koreans a great deal of money.
Currently wanted for fraud and violating multiple communication and investment laws. Total debt, 1.8 billion won.
In 2021, months after the first season dropped, Squid Coin cryptocurrency began trading with a valuation that soared to over $2,800 per coin. The scam involved a purported online Squid Games platform, in which the coins would be used to participate. The coin's price skyrocketed, but it became impossible to resell them, dropping the value to $0.00. As a result, every Squid Coin was worthless, and the developers cashed out, having scammed more than $3.4 million from their investors.
Are you guys gonna compensate me if I can't trade my coins?
While that scam was directly related to Squid Games and likely inspired the scam created by Player 333, it's hardly the only crypto scandal to happen in South Korea.
In short, there's not a lot that investors can do. It's not clear who was behind the project, let alone who withdrew the money.
In 2024, South Korea police arrested 215 people suspected of carrying out a crypto scam believed to have netted $228 million. Over 15,000 people lost their money to the criminal organization. These scams and others made the inclusion of the so-called MG coin in Squid Game Season 2 topical to South Korean culture. It's no wonder Player 333 is despised by the people he scammed. In Season 1, the frontman who wears an iconic black mask is revealed to be Hwang In-ho, the brother of police officer Hwang Jun-ho, whom he shoots in Episode 8. In Season 2, the frontman decides to play the game himself, entering the competition as Yongil, Player 001. This is important because in the first season, Player 001 isn't who he presents himself to be either. Season 1's Player 001 is an elderly gentleman whom Gi-hun befriends and keeps safe. However, Gi-hun eventually takes advantage of 001's forgetfulness, brought on by a brain tumor, to win a game of marbles, sentencing his friend to death. It's ultimately revealed that Player 001 doesn't die. His real name is Oh Il-nam, the financial tycoon who created the Squid Game. After winning the game, Gi-hun is summoned to Il-nam's deathbed, where he confronts him. But even though Gi-hun learns Player 001 was a plant, when Season 2 begins, the whole thing seems to have slipped his mind. He shows no suspicion whatever of the new Player 001. It's glaringly obvious to the audience that one should never trust Player 001, but for some reason, Gi-hun never makes a connection, falling victim to In-ho's machinations. Viewers who watch Squid Game dubbed are inevitably going to miss a lot of nuances in the original performances, while those who watch the original Korean version might be confused by those same factors. One language-based detail that stands out is the way Thanos speaks random lines in English, both when he's rapping and in regular conversations, often when introducing himself or cursing. Why does he do this? Listen to K-hip-hop and you'll understand. Korean rappers commonly throw in random English phrases among mostly Korean lyrics, so it makes sense that Thanos would do the same.
What's up? Nice to meet you, my brother. Welcome to the Thanos world.
Given the exaggerated comedic nature of the character, try-hard lines like "Welcome to the Thanos world" and calling everyone bro play like a parody of how ridiculous a lot of the English lyrics sound. They're also an opportunity for the actor to show off his sense of humor and English fluency to his international fanbase. At the start of the red light green light game in Season 2, Gi-hun is successful at instructing the other players when to move and freeze, avoiding any casualties. Alas, everything goes wrong when a bee lands on the neck of player 196.
You got a bee crawling on you.
A bee?
She moves and gets shot, leading to mass panic. The bee seems like a random coincidence until you stop and think about it. How did the bee get in there? While the painted backdrops of open skies might make you forget in the moment, the game takes place in an enclosed space, and we don't see any insects. In all likelihood, those running the games intentionally released the bee to set things off. Hyun-ju, a transgender ex-soldier who entered the games to pay for gender confirmation surgery, has become one of the more talked-about new characters this season. There was controversy over casting a cisgender man to play a trans woman. Creator Hwang Dong-hyuk has said that he wanted to cast a trans woman, but that there was almost no out actors in Korea. Despite this issue, responses from trans viewers have leaned positive, as Hyun-ju proves to be one of the show's most heroic characters. Commenters have speculated that the character of Hyun-ju was inspired by a real transgender soldier named Byun Hee-soo. Hee-soo was discharged from the South Korean army in January 2020 after transitioning. She was found dead in her home in March 2021, 7 months before the court ruled her discharge was unlawful discrimination. The new games in Season 2 each have their own ironic song accompaniment, though Western audiences are unlikely to recognize them, as Gi-hun's team makes it through the six-legged pentathlon in Episode 5, To You by Shin Naichul plays in the background. This is one of the most iconic South Korean pop songs of the 80s. It's a staple at school festivals and sporting events, making it perfect for this scene. Episode 5 also features the start of the Mingle game, which continues into Episode 6 and is scored to the Korean children's song Round and Round. This song is commonly sung while playing games like musical chairs, though typically those games don't involve executing the losers. It's just another way Squid Game twists the innocent into the horrific. Audiences know from the start that Player 001 is actually the frontman, and if Gi-hun had paid attention, he would have seen the signs that this guy is too good to be true. For starters, it's worth noting how In-ho's hair is parted during the games. It's the same hairstyle Cho Sung-woo wore in Season 1. Sung-woo was a former classmate of Gi-hun's, and the two had a bit of an alliance throughout much of the competition. In-ho's hairstyle could be seen as him subconsciously trying to get on Gi-hun's good side by reminding him of his dead friend. Additionally, there's a moment in Episode 5 where In-ho offers his milk to Kim Jun-hee.
Just take it. I don't want it. I can't drink milk anyway.
Gi-hun does the same thing in Season 1 when he gives his milk to Ali Abdul. It's an intentional act meant to make Gi-hun think he and In-ho are kindred spirits, and perhaps they are. It's possible In-ho plans to convince Gi-hun to become the new frontman once Season 3 rolls around. In Episode 4, Six Legs, Captain Park accidentally lets slip that he knows about Gi-hun winning the games, information he shouldn't be privy to.
Hold on, Captain. You already know about Mr. Song?
He quickly covers, claiming that someone else told him, and the conversation continues. However, a similar slip-up happens inside the games.
I'll do whichever one you think, Yoon.
How did you know my name?
In-ho covers the slip-up by saying he overheard it from Jung-bae. We know In-ho is lying, so the fact these similar moments occur in the same episode should clue super observant fans into the fact that Captain Park was also lying. In Squid Game, it's never a good idea to take people at their word. Obviously, In-ho isn't going to enter the games if he's at any risk of dying. It's unclear, for example, if he even competed in red light, green light, or only entered the mix during the first round of voting, and one fan theory suggests that he cheated during Mingle. In Mingle, players stand on a rotating platform, and when a number, say 10, is called out, they must form a group of 10 and race into an available room for safety. At one point, they divide into groups of 4, which means Gi-hun's crew of 5 has to split up. In-ho offers to find another group. The team is relieved when he survives the round, but one fan theory suggests he may have simply ducked out of the game, since none of the guards would have shot him. When the round is over, he then returns and walks over to Gi-hun, all smiles. However, at the end of the round, 168 players remain, a number that's divisible by 4. If In-ho hid, then the number should have theoretically been 169. Regardless of how In-ho survived, that's not the point of the scene. When he rejoins Gi-hun, he says something significant.
People say I'm pretty friendly, so I do all right in these kind of games.
That charisma is why Gi-hun and Jung-bae were so quick to accept him as a member of their alliance. Red light, green light is somehow even scarier the second time around because we and Gi-hun know exactly what horrors are in store. The objective is the same as in Season 1, cross the finish line in the allotted amount of time without moving after the doll yells red light. But there are some inconsistencies during the game this time. Gi-hun knows that if you move at the wrong time, you get shot. That's why he covers his mouth, to communicate with everyone else about how to play the game without triggering the doll's motion sensors. Those sensors are clearly very sensitive. One woman whose hands are only trembling a little too vigorously gets shot. However, there are a couple of moments where Park Hyung-shik twitches but survives. He has a noticeable reaction once other players start to be picked off, but the snipers ignore him. A few other players also appear to be spared despite breaking the rules. For example, player 222 jerks severely at one point. Granted, she's behind some other players, but her arms move out pretty far. You would think the doll would have caught such a big movement, but somehow she manages to avoid detection. Because of the nature of Squid Game and the fact that these violations are shown to us, there is likely some significance to these characters' survival. In the first episode of Season 2, well before Gi-hun returns to the island, the deadly games have already begun. The salesman ties up 2 of the loan sharks and forces them to play Russian roulette. At first, there's only 1 bullet in the revolver, but after a few lucky rounds, he loads an additional 4 bullets, increasing the chances of dying from 1 in 6 to 5 in 6. However, one eagle-eyed Reddit user noticed something about the bullets the salesman used. The first bullet was actually a dummy bullet, meaning there was no way for either man to die. The user writes, in the second game where they play with 5 bullets, the recruiter adds 3 more dummies and 1 real bullet. You can tell as it's flat, so the primer hasn't already been hit, so there was actually only a 1 out of 6 chance of dying. If that's true, then even when a real bullet is in place, there's still only a 1 out of 6 chance of dying. It's just coincidence that it happens to go off as early as it does. This all fits the salesman's sadistic, cynical view of humanity. He simply wants the men to suffer more before actually killing one of them. Season 2 ends with a violent revolt that costs many players and guards their lives. However, the games will presumably resume once Season 3 comes around, and we may already have an idea of what they'll be. In the first season, each game played is hinted at through drawings on the wall in the main room. You can see the shapes used for Dalgoma, as well as some stick figures playing tug-of-war. Season 2 continues this foreshadowing, and from what we can see, several of the games depicted haven't yet been played. For starters, it looks like some stick figures are playing on monkey bars, suggesting the remaining players will need to climb across something in order to survive. From another angle, you can see what looks like a chess or checkerboard. Combined with the Season 2 post-credit scene showing the red light, green light doll, along with a boy doll and a railroad crossing setup, we may have some ideas of what the games in Season 3 will involve. Human chess has the potential to be the most devastating of these games. One can imagine a scenario where the frontman and Gi-hun are the only ones controlling the board, deciding which pieces go where and who dies if they get captured. It would make for the perfect showdown. Whatever happens, one thing's for sure, the bloodshed is far from over.